Hey everybody, it's Brittany here. It's Wednesday, so that must mean it's time for another video. So, I did it today. I went to work. I left the house. I went into the city. I caught the train this morning during peak hour. I walked into the office with my head held high, and I went to various different locations today, and I met up with a few friends. Some colleagues / friends, and had coffee. So I just wanted to sort of walk you through that. Now look, I've been living full time since Christmas Day. I've well and truly documented that so far. But it's been very much in a social aspect. You know, I just had my week away where I, was just being me, and that was quite comfortable. Now, I'm just going to pause for a sec. This needs to go in the pocket because I've found I fiddle with it constantly during my video. So I just have to play with my hand now instead. Yeah, so I think my social transition is well and truly done and dusted. Going to the shops to get food and groceries, no problem. Going to buy clothes, I actually love that now. Taking things off the rack and, looking at different styles and things, love it. So socially and with my family, it's not even a second thought anymore. But for some reason I got a little bit hung up around work, like it was something different. Like in actual fact, work's supposed to be a safer place because my work, being a government agency, has rules and regulations and legislation to protect people like myself, or to protect everybody. It's just, we need to promote and create a safe and comfortable environment, stumbling a bit, for all people to come to work and feel comfortable and just do their job, which is, something I maybe lost sight of a bit there. And I got myself all wound up about work for some reason. I was worried about it. I know earlier this week I was talking about the dysphoria I was again experiencing around my face and the bits I don't like there. And you know what? I just put on my big girl pants this morning. They're not really big girl pants, but actually, side note, since I bought these pants, this is the bottoms to my suit, I actually feel like they fit me a lot better, which is quite pleasing. Anyway, sorry, side note. So yeah, I just kind of put all those fears aside. I just took a deep breath and I put my best foot forward, and whatever corny thing you want to throw at it, and I just went for it. So I found myself on the station this morning, one of the stations that I look after. I work in transport here in Sydney, and one of my staff, one of my team members, I approached them and said good morning, and they've never seen me like this before, but I have been on a video call with some of the team, and he recognised me and he said, "Good morning, Brittany," and I was like, oh. It's still little things like that that just make you feel really valid and really worthwhile. So yeah, my train came, I hopped on, it was a full carriage. I was sitting next to people in front, people behind, and you know what? Everyone's just getting on with their day. No one's there going, oh look, there's a trans person. Oh look, that person over there is transgender. Oh, that person over there playing with their hair and doing all sorts of things. They must be transgender, No one's thinking those things. The only person in that train carriage thinking that was me. So once I got over that, it was fine. So the train pulls into the station, my destination, and I get up and I walk down the aisle. Everyone else is still there. Quite a few people getting off. It's a major interchange city station I got off at. And I'm thinking, oh my God, are they looking at my bottom as I'm walking up the stairs? I mean, so what if they are? Like, who cares? So then I proudly walked across the station to my office, went in, ready to be greeted or to greet everybody and say, hey, I'm here. No one was there. I didn't get the memo that no one was going to be there today, so I was the only one there. But that was okay. I was only there for a minute to put my bag down, and I went upstairs onto the concourse, and where I met with a group of people. where we had a scheduled meeting at 9 a.m. The whole reason why I went in today. And I'll tell you, I did debate and contemplate quite a few times. I was trying to think of excuses and reasons not to go for this meeting. But then I sort of said to myself, hey, we can't make this a thing. You've still got responsibilities. You've still got to maintain a presence. This is your job. This is your income we're talking about here, and the lifestyle that we lead due to the income. So it was a real pivotal moment for me. It happened this morning when I woke up, and I was thinking, do I go? Don't I go? What valid reason can I give not to go in? And yeah, I decided that no, I need to go. I need to be present. So something funny happened when we were in this meeting. It was an on-site meeting. There was 5 men and 1 woman. And I hadn't really given it a second thought or a first thought, to be honest. And so we all assembled. We went, so right, well, let's go and look at the site that we're here to look at and discuss for this major event that we were planning. And we kind of all stood around in a circle. And I kind of looked around and went, okay, I'm the only woman here. And for the first time, I felt what it was like to be a minority, if you like. I know there's all sorts of targets and KPIs of women in management and in senior management, which is where I sit. And I mean, if you recall one of my previous videos when I came out to my 2-up exec manager, she made the joke that, oh, you're just helping my KPIs. So I said, oh, I'm transgender, I'm transitioning into become a woman. And she's like, oh yeah, you're helping my KPIs, thank you. So yeah, it was really, it's hard to describe, but I just had this moment of realization that, yeah, I'm in now a minority group here. And I felt then a little bit isolated, because whether it was just me thinking or looking for things that weren't there, but all the men then tended to turn and sort of have not their backs to me, but kind of like had a shoulder to me. And I was kind of like on the outside a little bit of the circle. And it was only when I became conscious that I was the only woman there that I kind of then picked up on these other cues. So I just kind of had to muscle my way back in there and make myself part of the conversation and make myself relevant. The whole time, so we're outside, and it's quite windy in Sydney today, and my hair is just blowing all over the place. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm trying to hold it down. I'm doing this to try to hold it. And I realised also that I don't have a lot of experience in how to handle long hair in the elements. So it's something I need to think about. This wig, we all know it's a wig. This wig is difficult. There is no tying it back. I've looked at it. It doesn't work that way. I just can't wait until the day that my actual natural hair is long enough to just tie back in a ponytail. So if I go to work and I'm nicely styled and I'm looking gorgeous, and then the wind's blowing and I'm in that environment, I go, right, I'll just pull a hair tie out of my bag and I'll just tie my hair back, no problem. Once I get back to the office, just let it back out, give it a brush or a tidy up, and then get on with the day. So yeah, I struggle a little bit with that. So that meeting ended all good, contributed what I had to contribute, got out of it what I needed to get out of it, and then so off to the next appointment. So then I was heading back towards home, and I had teed up with a colleague last week. We needed to just do a catch-up, just a casual sort of a catch-up, welfare check on each other, just maintaining, networking and relationship type sort of catch-up, aka we just caught up for a coffee. So he was also one of the very first people I came out to at work. So I was nowhere near presenting or anything. I was still 100% male, or presenting as male. When I told him, he was the one that gave me the big bear hugs and told me that how much he respected me and how proud of me he was. So yeah, he'd see me over video, but over video and in person are two completely different things, I've now discovered. So he was a bit taken back when he saw me. He was like, wow, like for one thing, he called me lanky or lean. Like, I am quite tall and I am quite long and thin, but he said, "Are you taller?" I said, "No, actually, I'm shorter." I said, it could be the heel boots that I'm wearing might have an inch or two. But yeah, I was always taller than him anyway, so maybe I was intimidating him a bit as a tall woman. Anyway, so we went and sat down and we had coffee and we chatted for a while, probably 15, 20 minutes. And it's funny, and I had this experience with a couple of other staff that I'd interacted with on the way to his office. People were struggling to make eye contact with me. I think, not that I'm threatening them, I think they just need a little while to get used to it. It's a lot to take in, considering who I was before and the large bearded figure that I was. And I think I've documented too, I felt like I used to take up a lot of space. Well, I did take up a lot of space because I was literally twice the size I am. So yeah, a couple of them who I'd worked with for quite some time, they all know me very well. They're kind of like, looking everywhere, and I felt like they were looking down here and then they're looking up, and yeah, they were trying to check me out without being obvious, but at the same time, I guess their brain is processing, wow, this was, now it is, and yeah, so the reality of, and yeah, so my colleague, my friend gave me some really nice compliments and, commented on how he thought I was doing and looking and how my transition's going, and he has a close friend who's transitioned and made comments. He said, "Yeah, you're doing great, but you've got a long way to go, right?" I said, "Sure do," but I think the key is just to enjoy the journey. Another little funny one was when I was going into his office, you got to walk past a meal room, and there was, excuse me, another team member sitting there who I'd worked with forever, and I sort of walked up and I said, "Hi, Leo," and he looked at me like you could almost see the sparks in his brain, like going, you look familiar, but I can't piece it together. And I was wearing my lanyard with my ID on it, which I have not updated yet because I just haven't had a chance to, and it still has my dead name on there and a picture of me as that other person. So I walked up and I said, "Does this jog your memory?" And he looked at my ID and he went, "Oh, no," like again, like brain explode in a good way, and he's just like shaking his head going, "Wow, like far out." So that was cool, and there's a few other interactions like that. Sorry, I got an itchy spot, don't know why that's itchy. A few other interactions like that, and then so I left there and I caught a train down to another location, and I caught up, had coffee with another, actually a colleague, somebody who I consider a friend, somebody who I worked with with my previous employer, and we just built a friendship and we maintain that friendship. So again, he hasn't seen me in the flesh, he hasn't seen me person to person, I've sent him pictures, he hasn't seen videos, so actually now I think about it, it probably was more of a shock for him. So I texted him, I said, "I'm on my way down, can you come out for a coffee?" Yep, let me know when you get here. So when I got out the front of his place of work, I texted him and said, "Yep, I'm here, I'm waiting at the front." And so I'm just casually, I had my suit jacket on as well. I'm just casually standing there, hair blowing in the breeze, and he's walked out the front door and he nearly walked past me and he kind of went, "Shit." Sorry for swearing, but it's like, "Oh my God." He said, "I nearly didn't recognize you. I nearly just walked straight past you, like far out." And again, so he was just blown out in a really good way. Sorry if these slang terms don't compute. Blown out means like mind blown or, anyway, struggle to comprehend the dramatic change. So then we proceeded to go to a cafe, we sat down and he just sat across from me just looking and going like, "Wow, you look amazing, you look great." So I think it's pretty safe to say that those interactions that I had today have boosted my confidence through the roof. And I want to get out there. I need to get out there more. This has been fantastic. I know there's going to be some people that don't. I still get strange looks from strangers, but for you people out there who are watching this and you're thinking about transitioning and you're scared to be in public and when am I going to pass and all that crap. It's just you. You just need to be happy with you. Listen to me, like I sound like I've got it all together, right? There's days where I can't even look at myself in the mirror, but hey, when the feeling's here, let's get it out. It's all about you. You've got to be comfortable. And the thing I was going to talk about with the strangers and the looks, so what? They're strangers. You're never going to see them again. The chances of you seeing them again are very slim. So if they're giving you a look going, oh, what's happening with that person? Are they transitioning? Are they a man? Are they a woman? Or what are they? Who cares? In fact, if they're questioning which gender you are, then to me, that's a win, right? Because if you're projecting an image of, I'm not quite sure, it could be either, well, guess what? You're getting there. You're on your journey. You're on your path. If you were just, no, that's a man or that's a woman, depending on how you're transitioning, then I'd take that as an issue. But, oh, well, not really an issue. Again, it's a stranger's opinion. It's someone you're never going to see, so who gives a flying... Anyway, I'm being quite animated today. You can tell when I'm in a good mood, right? You can tell when I'm happy, and you can tell when things are going good. This is such a long video. I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. So anyway, there we are. All that fear, all that concern about how my face looks and the brow bone and my horrible neck and all that kind of stuff. Who cares? Because that's just what I was looking at. That's the things that I focus on. Other people are seeing other things, other developments and things, and just the overall. I mean, remember a lot of these people hadn't seen me for over 12 months, so I was 140 kilos the last time they saw me as well. So the first thing is just my silhouette, the image is like, oh my God, you're like half the size you used to be. And then it's like, oh, and you've got breasts and you've got long hair and you're wearing makeup and your face is, and you've got jewelry on and nail polish, and like boom, 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 boom. There's all these explosions in their head. And then, you know, a few minutes in the conversation, it's kind of like, you seem really happy. You seem, you know, healthy, happy. That was one of the comments that my friend made, because I've never seen you this healthy. I've never seen you this happy. And I've known him for probably close to 25 years, I would say. He said, I've never seen you so healthy and happy. And that means a lot. I mean, who doesn't want to hear that? Right? You don't want people to say, oh God, you look miserable. Why are you doing this to yourself? You want to hear people say, I think you've made the best decision of your life. I think that this is just fitting you like a glove, and why wouldn't you do it? My other colleague made a comment like, well, there's no going back now. Like, you're clearly a woman. Like, I'm like, damn straight. Like, exactly. So, all right, now time to get this clicker out of my pocket again. I noticed I didn't fidget with it too much, so turn it back on. And so thanks again for listening to me just waffle on about general day-to-day stuff in my life. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Keep subscribing. Keep commenting. Actually, there's some really good comments. I'll try to get some responses to those. It's beautiful to see people commenting, and the views are just gone through the roof. So am I supposed to say share this as well with your friends or like-minded people? I don't know. Anyway, that's me for today. See ya.